Hi YouTube, it's ACDodd and welcome to another episode of On The Road Tuning with me, ACDodd. And this time, again, we're everywhere. So let's get stuck in. Right, so we're here in Crystal Palace, or very near to it anyway. And we got this nice late L plate 1275 Sprite type car with a carburettor. We've got a fairly typical 1275 Sprite type engine. It's got the HI38 carb, it's got the 65D factory Dizzy. So there's a few issues with it, but let's go and have a chat with Alex, the owner, and see why he's called us up here today. Okay, so this is Alex. All right, Alex.
Yeah,
why have you called me up here today?
Well, I've not been happy with how it's been running for quite some time now. It's always struggles on the MOT emissions tests. And to be honest, it's particularly when I'm at motorway speeds that I really notice that there is, I'm sure that there is untapped potential there, that overtaking at motorway speeds shouldn't be an event.
Okay.
So I was quite keen to...
You have to put in written paperwork for power.
Absolutely. I have to warn my wife that we're going to make an overtake.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. All right. So, any other issues apart from perhaps a bit of power, lack of power at speed?
Idling. I've often got to keep the choke out a little bit just to keep the engine ticking over. So.
And you mentioned about emissions there. Has it failed the MOT?
Yeah, it has done. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's see what we can. We'll have a dig in and see what we can find.
Brilliant. Cheers.
Thank you. Just have a listen to the exhaust a minute. You can hear it's popping and not smooth. And that means it's not running right. So the first thing we found on this one is the coil that was fitted, which is this one, is a 3 ohm unit. So we're going to change to a 0.8 ohm to match the 65D that's fitted. The other thing I've noticed is it's got a ballast wire on it, which is very strange for a very late car. And Alex tells me that's because it's had a new loom. So at some point somebody's fitted an earlier loom as a replacement. So this car was always hamstrung on emissions purely because its coil couldn't get any power, and it wasn't able to produce any power itself because it was a 3 ohm unit. So we'll change to this, we'll put a bypass wire in, that'll get that sorted out, and then we can move on to the next problem. And after those changes, it's a little different. So we've got, just to catch up with where we are, we've got the new 0.8 ohm Viper coil on there. We've put a bypass wire in, so we've got full voltage at the coil. I've also put new spark plugs in. I didn't change the HT leads is because they were still reading as new, so I left them as they are. Then I've turned my attention to the carburettor. The carburettor is actually pretty good, although it's only an HI38, and I've since found out that this is a sort of a late 90s Cooper engine, so I think it's going to be restricted somewhat. The engine appears to be idling like it's got an MG camshaft in it. I can't really tell that, but it seems like it is. Anyway, the carburettor is fitted with an AEM needle, and the fueling is pretty much spot on right till we get to 4,000, then it leans out. So in this case, I'm just going to modify the needle that's in there to give some appropriate top end fueling, and obviously adjust the part throttle at 4 to 5,000, and then this thing should rip. So let's get on. Okay, so I've got this one dialed in. We took the original AEM needle, modified that quite considerably at the 4,000 RPM up point and the full power point. So this one now is picking up beautifully. The other thing I did is I took about 11 degrees off the timing because it was too far advanced, which is why there was some popping in the exhaust earlier. So this is now ready for a test drive, so we'll send Alex out here and see what he thinks. All right, Alex, you can already see the smile coming through there. So you've been out for a test drive. What do you think?
It's absolutely transformed, honestly. You know, I've seen a lot of these videos where people talk about how the car is completely transformed, and you always wonder, like, you know, okay, am I really going to notice the difference? But honestly, it is night and day. The pickup it's just so much more responsive. it's so much more fun to drive. And yeah, as I said to Adrian earlier, like it's sitting at a note when it's idling that I would have been scared about previously, because it was normally a precursor to the car going. So yeah, it's great when it's sitting in traffic. I'm not worried about it, and it's brilliant when you can put the pedal down.
Excellent. So to sum up, then, it's smoother,
Yeah,
more power,
yeah,
no flat spots,
no,
and it's everything it could be. Yeah.
absolutely.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thanks very much, Alex, for calling me out to come up and look at your car, and I was glad we was able to get it dialed in.
No, not at all. It's been brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Right. So here we are down in Verwood, and we got this nice Mini Sky, little 998. Nice little car. This one, lovely condition. Absolutely beautiful interior. Look at that. Fantastic car. So let's come around the front and see what we got. And we have the usual 998 engine. This one's completely standard. It's got standard manifold, no stage 1 kit or anything, but it's had a brand new SU fitted HS4, and I've already started the job, so I'm already making my way through it. So let's go and talk to the owner and see why he's called us down. Okay, so this is Neil. All right, Neil.
Hi.
This is your lovely Mini Sky.
Yep.
In fact, this is the first of 2 cars. I think we got this Mini Sky, and then a little bit later on we got an RSP.
Yeah.
But on this car, why is it you called us down today?
Well, it's had a new carb in the last sort of 12 months, and it's running okay, but I just felt that, it could benefit from a proper check over, make sure everything's tickety-boo, really. So yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, any driving issues?
Driving's a bit sluggish getting away from the start, otherwise, it seems okay.
Okay, any flat spots?
No, it's pretty good, sort of 40 to 60, but yeah, I think getting away from the line is probably where the problems are.
Okay, all right. Well, let's dig in and see what we can find.
Cool.
Okay, so what we found, the spark plugs in it were BP4, or BPR4 ESs, which is obviously much too warm for this. So I've changed it to some BP5Es, which is what I carry with me. We got a 3 ohm coil fitted, but the ballast resistor's been bypassed. So this is running a 12 volt coil with 12 volt feed with a 3 ohm coil. So that's absolutely fine with the points ignition that we've got. 25 thou plug gaps. The points were okay, but just gapped a little bit wide, so I've reduced the gap. Taken about 5 degrees out of the timing. We're okay so far, and now we move over to the carburetor. In this case, it's a nice brand new unit. I think, well, say brand new about 9 months ago. So the engine runs fine, but we're very, very, very lean. So we're going to start work on that now and change the needle and start dialing it in. Okay, so we got this one dialed in. We've got, obviously, the air filter's back on now. I've got everything done. So 5 degree retard on the ignition timing, new set of spark plugs, adjusted the dwell angle, i.e. the points, and then tried an AAF needle. That was too rich, so I had to drop back to an AAE and then modify it to give it a couple of modifications on the needle lathe. And this one is, as you can hear, this one's ready to rip. Okay, so Neil's been out for a drive in the little Mini Sky, so let's see what he thinks of it.
Yeah, brilliant. It's like a different car. It's like he's put a different engine in it. No, much more responsive on the getaway. It's got a proper little bark to it now and really drives nice, so top job.
Yes, you mentioned the bark there, because we I didn't mention it on the video, but we actually drilled the airbox as well, so that does give it a little bit of bark, but it's only when you put your foot right down.
Yeah,
so
otherwise it's, just sounds like normal. Yeah.
Just sounds like normal. The other thing about your car is it was virtually completely standard.
Yeah, there's no mods engine wise, so it's just, as it came out of the factory, really.
But does that surprise you about how far out that standard engine actually was?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, it's like a different engine now. So yeah,
Okay.
good stuff.
It was extremely lean on the needle, so changing the needle and then modifying it so it's got the fueling right across the rev range has certainly put the smile back on your face.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
what we now need to do is look at your next car, which I believe is an RSP.
It is an RSP, yeah.
So let's get that in and have a look.
Okay, bro.
Okay, second car today. This is an RSP Cooper, a very nice one at that. Nicely well kept, and I believe this is RSP number 203. So this one is in for a tune, and actually, as usual, I'm already through it. Well, I'm already part way through it. So what have we got? Rover's finest MG Metro engine installed in a Mini. A few little mods to get it in, like a different snorkel on the air filter. The air filter's off here at the moment, so because I'm going through it. In terms of performance wise, the Rover advance curve on these is very good. Gives a good advance curve for good performance, so I've checked that and that's all working as it should. It's got a 0.8 ohm coil fitted, which is the right one. I've changed the I've got the spark plugs, I checked them, they're all fine, so no need to change any of this at all. It did have the metal lead separators on, which I've taken them off because that does cause tracking, so I don't like those, so they've been taken off. But in terms of everything, I've checked the timing and we were about 6 degrees too much advance, so I've dialed that back. Looking at the carburettor, again, the owner here has fitted a new one some time ago, so that's in mint condition. It's working perfectly, so my job is just to dial it in. And in this case, we're a little bit lean across the rev range, so a little bit of a light adjustment on the existing needle, and I think I'll have this one running really strong. So let's go and talk to the owner and see why he's called us in on this one. Okay, Neil, so second car today, this lovely RSP. So this one, already I've listened to it and it doesn't sound too bad. So what you want me to do with this one?
Well, it's, again, just to fine tune really. It's, as you say, I had a new carb. The carb actually is the original carb for the car. It was sent to Berlin's in Salisbury for an overhaul, so it's come back. I've just put it on with the basic standard settings. Car was running okay, but you know, just wanted another little fine tune, make sure everything's tickety-boo really.
Excellent. Well, what we do, I've already got part through this one, so I already know the ignition's all working fine, and I have actually found that the needle's a bit lean, so you are right, it does need a tweak. So let's dig in and get that one sorted and then send you on your way with the test drive.
Right.
Okay, so what we got with this RSP, it's got a BFY needle in it, and on testing, it's actually lean all the way across from 2 to sort of 5,000 revs. So a little bit of modification to get this one dialed in, and this car's going to run much better. All right, Neil. So oh, that size, that smile. he's been out in his RSP. So what do you think of the RSP?
The RSP's, yeah, definitely. Again, you know, less adjustments for the RSP, but there's definitely improvement. Throttle response is better, feels smoother. So, you know, what more can you ask for, really?
Excellent. Does it feel a bit more pokey?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for getting me down to look at both of your cars. Certainly the 9 and 8 needed a lot of work.
Yeah.
And obviously there was a big improvement there. And equally with the RSP, there was a little improvement because we had a little bit too much timing. So we just smoothened the engine up and it will drive nicer on part throttle. So anyway, the main thing is, would you recommend this service to anyone else?
I would definitely recommend it, yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks, Neil.
No, not at all. Thanks for coming
down.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Okay, so we're down in Romsey. And what have we here? We've got a nice mini Clubman. Loving the wheels. Yeah. So, I think this is, it's fair to say you're recommissioning it, aren't you, really?
That's correct,
Yeah. Okay. So, let's have a look and see what we've got under the bonnet. In this case, we got a 286 cammed hairy brute. I think it's a better way of saying it. So I think my job here is to look it over and see what it needs, and then see if we can actually make an improvement. So let's go and have a chat with the owner and see why he's called us down. Okay, so this is Nick. Nick owns this car. So why have you called us down today, Nick?
Well, it is a recommission. It's been about 30 years off the road. I used it for rallying for a number of years with my mate Trevor and David, and in the end it went off the road. It went through a very long rebuilding process, moving between houses and such. And now coming back onto the road, it just needs dialing in and making sure that it doesn't eat itself and be really unhealthy. So the improvement in fuel economy, the improvement in the running of the engine, and just making sure that it just lasts that bit longer, that would be great.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll see what I can do. It's got a big cam in it, so I'm sure this you're used to having this going quite well. So we'll see what we can do in terms of economy as well as liven up that performance.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay, so this 1293 that we've got under the bonnet, it's been in here a while, but it actually runs quite smoothly. So I was quite impressed actually when I heard this. Normally when I come out to a 286 cam nightmare, they're a big bag of rattly nuts and bolts. But in this case, this one sounds quite healthy. So hopefully we can have some good results with dialing this one in. So I've already started to work through it as usual. So we've got a 3 ohm coil. It had BP6 spark plugs, so I've changed those to a set of BP7 ESs, gapped at 25 thou. We got points ignition. The points gap was too big, so I've closed that down a little bit, and we had 44 degrees of ignition timing full in. So clearly too much timing, so I've dialed that out. In fact, I've taken 14 degrees out of it, and interestingly it looks like somebody's had a go at the advance curve, so at least we've got an advance curve that's functional, and it will at least make this one run properly. Moving over to the carburettor, we got a HI44 which looks to be in good condition, and but what we have got is a red spring and a standard BDL needle, so we're a long way off, I think, where we need to be. So first things first is to change the spring, put a yellow spring in it, put a BDR needle in it, and then see how it responds. Right, all right, Nick. Now, we cut this one short because we've got a few problems, but you've been out for a test drive. What's it like now?
Pulls much smoother, especially after 2000 RPM, which is exactly where the cam is for that 286 cam on it.
Yep, but we've also got a few problems, haven't we? So we stopped the tune because unfortunately our fueling was going all over the place and it was doing its own thing. So
yeah, the fuel regulators not regulating at all, so it's putting too much fuel in.
Yeah,
which may be just pushing past the needle valve, but also there's something which is a bit of a blockage in the carb, so it needs a bit of a rebuild.
Yeah, so we've stopped it there today. Basically, what happened was I went from a red spring to a yellow spring, and unfortunately the carb didn't respond as I was expecting it to, and it wouldn't run. I had to place the jet up in the wrong position, and all sorts of things started happening. So it was like, right, stop there, know when to quit. So what we're going to do with this one is I've made it better, but it's a work in progress. So we've got to come back and look at this one when we've got some more new parts fitted.
Yes, absolutely. However, it is a big improvement, and it's also safer to drive on the road than it was before, because it was heading for destruction before.
Yes. Well reminded, because I just remembered now that there was 44 degrees of ignition advance at full advance, which is, anyone with the 286 cams will know, you're right in the danger territory. So I managed to pull 14 degrees of timing out of it, so at least it's saved it from that aspect. Yep. But yeah, work in progress.
That's right. There'll be a part 2.
Absolutely. All right. Anyway, thanks for having us down, Nick, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Okay, hopefully you enjoyed that one. Just another example there, as in the previous episode with the wooden picket. Nick's Mini there had carburation issues and a couple of other problems, one of which was the fuel pressure regulator. So that one's a work in progress. I'll go back to that one, and we'll get that one dialed in. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that. As ever, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.